So this next question comes to us from somebody who runs an in-house innovation department. They're in the legal group, and they're trying to figure out a way to rebuild momentum in their innovation program, in their innovation pipeline. And this is all too common a problem. You'll find that people get busy, right? And you look back at what's gone on lately and you haven't filed a new patent application in some period of time. I had this conversation with a client just yesterday, and they are a well-funded unicorn tech startup, and they hadn't filed any patents in 3 years, right? So it begs the question on, maybe they don't have any good innovation, which of course was not true. But nonetheless, if they're not filing patents, perhaps they're not really creating any new ideas or fixing any of their existing products. And talking to them, very quickly there were whole new product lines that I hadn't heard of that they had developed, and we had no patent protection. So very, very common problem. When you find yourself in that situation, here's what I have to say, is you have to get front of mind for people. And what that means is that this particular enterprise is very common. There have been lots of turnover. There had been, some M&A activity, so buying and selling of the company and so forth. So management teams had turned over and that. So my first suggestion to her was to meet with the folks that are in charge of, the technical folks that are in charge of these new product lines. Explain to them the patent program, see what kind of new stuff they had going on, and just ask the questions, right? And today, it may be harder to meet with people, but certainly you can give people a call. Or when other issues come up as you're interacting with those folks, raise the issue. Is any of this patentable? Training, just to do another round of training. If you don't have the material internally, whoever is your patent prosecutor would probably be glad to come and talk about the patent process. Or you can give the training yourself to talk about the process, how you participate, how the innovation pipeline works, how to fill out the form, just simple things like that. Making sure that people are aware of the process. There's new people being hired all the time. Maybe record that session and provide it to the new people as they go through orientation, so they know how to participate in the process. And then some sort of recognition of what's going on, right? Some people will have awards that they give for participants. Sometimes at quarterly meetings, executives will mention or recognize the people that have gotten patents or filed patents. There are tracking tools like, of course, the Triangle IP tool that gives visibility and transparency to what's going on in the pipeline, and people can see what's happening with their innovation, so that remains part of their job description, part of what they do, because they're seeing it on a regular basis. Just as you're wandering the halls and interacting, just asking the questions, right? Executive buy-in, some points I just mentioned, is really, really important, to the extent that the managers are asking about it, or the executives are talking about it, it all of a sudden becomes really important. Annual reviews. Add a question to the annual review that says, explain how you've participated in the innovation program this year. You'd be surprised. You put something in the self-evaluation portion of the annual review, and I bet you when that gets distributed, you're going to find a lot of people going through the trouble to write up the ideas that they already had. So the key thing is to socialize the program, and whether that be training or recognition or executive buy-in, really beating that drum so that everybody knows, look, part of what we're doing here is to create and capture innovation. And that's an important part of the job description of anybody who's a developer or an engineer or a scientist. And make that part of the DNA of your enterprise. And you will find that with a little bit of work and a little bit of nagging and so forth, you'll have a full innovation pipeline. So I hope that answers the question. Remember to like and subscribe, and put any questions below or any comments you might have on this video. Thanks.